Score big cash and prizes this July.
What the heck? Oh, wonderful.
Stop by Tuesdays for multiplier.
Hold on, audience. I've got a freaking commercial that started playing in the background. Wonderful. Hold on. We're going to go ahead and get back in intro silence. Let me figure out where the hell this is coming from. Oh, there it is. Nope, that's not it. That's it. No, that's my chat. Holy cow, where the hell is this shit coming from? Holy cow. Okay, we've got it clear. Let's restart this one more.
Let's restart.
Nope. We got it? All right, we got it. No. No.
All right, we got it. No.
Where the hell is that coming from? Oh, there it is. Right there. Okay, one last time. One more time, folks. Good morning, good evening, or good afternoon, depending on where and when you're watching this broadcast. I'm Thomas Fessler, my friends, and this is Disclosure Tonight. Happy Saturday, my friends. Let's go ahead and have a fun time. Yeah, Mike is still on vacation, but let's go ahead and see who in the heck we have out there in the audience and welcome into our wonderful chat. Love you guys, gotta say that. Who's out there? Let's take a look. We've got Anonymous Rex, Bob Lazar's here along with Brennan England. Brains popped in along with Kathy Spire. Craig Smith's here along with Creativity from the Future. I see CWBETB is here along with Dan Larev. We got Eliza Teal, Eric Roth and the Gurus. Evan B popped in along with Phantom was Fanto. We got Firefly City. Frank Cathell and Frazzle Says. Joffrey J is here along with Gray Hair Discoveries. John is here. We got JoJo, Kathy, Kelly Broat, and those piercing blue eyes. Good to see you, my dear lady. King Bull's here along with Maritime Unprepared. Mr. Catfish 2100 popped up in the audience. You know, he's our longest standing audience member. Thank you for being here, Mr. Catfish 2100. Miss Cussouts in the audience, along with Player One. The real Mr. X is here, along with Roni Deal, Rodney Cox, Sam, Shinobi One Kenobi, Shrooby Doo is in the audience, along with Super Unknown. We got the Chromosome Cowboy and the Coin 405. The Paul Damon is here, along with the Vern Dude. Thoughtform popped in, along with Tony D, and of course, Turner C. Maga is here. Well, friends, let me go ahead and jump into the studio and welcome you all in for tonight's show. Yeah, I had too many windows open. Sorry. Oh, gosh, one of those days, and it wasn't one window, it was another window, and, well, we got it all taken care of, and now we can go ahead and let Michael Sokoloff into the back audience. Yeah, we've got a great, if you want to call it, roundup of what's been happening in UFO news this week. Interesting. It's been completely unexpected, I have to say. I'll talk to the audience on this one because this one is really out there. As you know, if you've watched last night's show, Anna Paulina Luna kind of lost it and was going and threatening Lue Elizondo to go ahead and force him to come into a skiff to go ahead and meet with her, and to go ahead and fire off a subpoena for him to testify. Wrong move. It's for him, for Lue Elizondo, for David Grush, possibly for Tim Gallaudet and others. Lou kind of responded to it back and forth, and she just pulled out all. Oh gosh, she just laid it out all on the table, and you know what? I think she kind of tarnished how people potentially feel about her with the whole disclosure thing we're going through, and her wonderful task force that has accomplished the Task Force for National Secrets. She's accomplished nothing with so far for UFO disclosure. We've had no hearing. We're supposed to have them earlier in the year. Then we were supposed to have it in July. Now we're going to have it in September. But after this latest outburst and what we got a clip here we'll have to go out and dig up and find, Jeremy Corbell that we covered on Tuesday saying all of his witnesses, whistleblowers, don't want to come forward. They don't trust Congress to do anything. They're going to put themselves at risk. But if they put themselves at risk, what are they going to gain out of it? What is Congress going to do? Well, what did Congress do for David Grush? Nothing. Did they follow up on those 40 whistleblowers, of which some ones would be hostile witnesses, and bring them in? No. Did they go ahead and bring in the commander of Eglin Air Force Base, who left the meeting and went on, suddenly something came up and they went on vacation? Did she bring them in to try and explain and finish getting the answers? Nothing. So what are they going to accomplish in this task force? Well, maybe something. I don't know. It's one of those things we have to take a look at and just wonder, where in the heck are we? Where are we going with disclosure? Is there going to be disclosure coming forward? Yes, there will be. Technically, people have said disclosure has happened. No, friends. Disclosure has started. It's been very slow, drip, drip, drip going along. And don't forget, we've got the UAPDF coming up that was authored by, surprise, Carl Nell. Colonel Carl Nell, retired. But it more represents, I think, the position of controlled disclosure, keeping the information out of the public for 20 plus years, or permanently locking it up. And, adheres more towards national security. Remember, again, he was in the intelligence community. He was in the Army. And is that what we want? Do we really want closed disclosure locked up for 20 years, for 50 years, or for never, for us to get answers on this stuff because it's a matter of national security? I think it's time to go ahead and just start rolling the information out, and let's have some disclosure. Now, one thing I want to go ahead and do in housekeeping here for the week, as everyone's recognized, the chat is screwed up right now. Your name in the chat is screwed up. And I just wanted to go ahead and show you, if you're interested, what you have to do to go ahead and fix it. So let me go ahead and bring up this browser window right here. Let's get to it. Let me go ahead and show this for our audience. A little bit different format tonight. Usually let's get this thing done. Boom, boom, boom. Let's get through. We got to have a fun time. We've got some fun people in the back today. We'll be talking about this. Remember, guys in the back, you want to jump into the conversation, don't need to raise your hand today. Just butt in like we're having a conversation, hanging out at the picnic bench behind my grandparents' house. So let me go ahead and bring this up because I think everyone should be interested if you haven't figured it out yet. All the names in the chat are all, well, not that one, are all screwed up. So let me go ahead and bring this up for anyone who's interested in how to go ahead. Not that one. There we go. How to go ahead and fix it. So if you were to go to youtube.com, at the top of your YouTube, if you're in the chat, you are going to have your little channel icon with your name, a T, with whatever, an initial or something like that. If you click on that and you tell it you want to go to YouTube Studio, okay? Once you click on that, it's going to bring you into the back end. Look, we have 17,448 subscribers. We went down 2 yesterday, folks. What did I do wrong? Please share, subscribe if you can. On the left side of the overall screen, let me get myself out of here for a second. You can see there is something here called customization. If you click on customization, scroll down, you're going to see two fields. One is the handle. This is actually like the name. I think this is the name that's displayed in YouTube. So if you were, let's bring it up here, King Bull in the past, now you're King Bull 90s. Or let's look at Band Van 5150. You're now Band Van 5151. Before you would have been Bad Van. All you have to do is go in here and change this name. And what they did is they made it, you couldn't be the same name as somebody else. So you can change your name of what's going to be displayed in YouTube. And if you wanted to have your old one before, like Tim Senor did earlier in the chat, let me get this up here if I can find him. Anonymous Rex, just went and put an underscore right following the name that he used to have displayed. So if you don't want to have all, random with a bunch of characters on the end right here, you can go ahead and change that. It's not so hard. The changes take place instantly. Just wanted to let you know if you wanted to get your name back to something a little bit more recognizable for you. I think those kind of worth sharing. Let me get back into, all right, the studio, turn the logo on. All right, so give you kind of a headline of what we're talking about today, getting through everything. Let me look at what I have for the headlines. Yeah, I didn't set them up today. We've got a big recap. So I think the first thing I need to go ahead and find is a video from Jeremy Corbell talking about whistleblowers who no longer want to come forward. Now, what did I put? The Brave browser? Create a new window. There it is. I already had it up. Let me get to my bookmarks. 1 second. We'll get there. Hopefully you're having a good time today, folks. Thanks for all coming in. Honestly, appreciate it, really. Let's see. I should be able to find this one. Oh, we'll get to that one. Oh, we got to get to that one. Oh, we've got to. Oh, yeah.
Everything. Such a change. I'm so fast. It makes you wonder what's structuring the conversation.
Or do you know?
Yeah, it seems like it's been muted. A lot of people have been saying the Republicans in Congress, Gene, are not interested in disclosure. They haven't talked about it. We've had one particular person, we had one representative, I think it was Representative Garcia, saying Republican leadership isn't that interested in disclosure this year. So, and that would be the leader of the Oversight Committee would be James Comer, and also would be the head of the House of Representatives would be Mike Johnson. It could be one of the reasons why so many times that Tim Burchett has requested for us to get a select committee, like a church-style committee, to go ahead and research disclosure, but we haven't been getting anything.
And Pauline is in an attempt.
Hold on. You weren't talking. People can't hear you. Restart again what you were just saying. I'm sorry.
Oh, sorry.
I had to turn down the audio before when.
Yeah.
When we had the start is screwed up, so start again, my friend.
It just seems as though the theatrics involving Luna were, was it intentional for some reason, and why? Was it an intentional sort of call out? Are they trying to make it hard for whistleblowers to come out? Because we can get into it after the video, because that's always my question is, the whistleblower process is an established process, and why it is so weird when it comes to the UAP issue is an issue all in and of itself.
Yeah. Hell hath no fury like a woman scorned. And you're married. I used to be married. A lot of people are in traditional relationships, and they can understand that sometimes they can get a little upset and they will let their fury rage. And the good thing about it is they don't let you forget anything, ever. And they'll go back against you for every single thing you did wrong, and they don't stop. And it almost seemed like something along those lines, like you'd see two people in a relationship fighting against each other at the local, at the local mall or something like that, or a restaurant. Right. You're just like, why are these people doing it? But yeah, there was
and she's bringing up Christmas dinner with the in-laws 6 years ago.
Right.
Suddenly.
Yeah. How dare you let them order that dish? I don't like it. Yeah. Oh. It's just
Laura's back here fuming a little bit. We gotta watch it.
No, I think Laura understands. But I think Laura's also a kind of a different person. Let's just say that. Sure. I'm not trying to go ahead and throw anyone up, but let me get this clip up. And this was actually kind of going on before the whole thing blew up with Lue, I think. So let's play this one that kind of maybe led up to where we're at this week. It's a short clip. Where's that at? Let me find this video guest full. Okay, let's play this one. Here we go, everybody. And I'll hang out with you. All right.
Sure. have you, or do you know of anybody else who has claimed to have spoken to the witness I described earlier? Somebody who claims to have worked in a program for a decent amount of time and who had hands on a craft, said, yeah, I worked on it, and my conclusion was after 3 years or whatever, this was a non-human craft.
Yes, I know people in official capacity who have interviewed with people that exactly fit this description. And I have pushed on them, being like, what is it going to take for someone like that to come forward publicly? And by the way, that was part of an ICIG investigation where people of that level were communicated with. And I know exactly who is doing that back and forth. And here's the deal, ma'am. They said to me, what would be the motivation for someone like that to break from the fold and destroy their whole lives just because they were called in to come talk with me? It's not going to happen. It's just not going to happen. There has to be somebody who's so upset with something surrounding this that they're just like going to try to burn it all down. And usually those people never make it to the starting point, you know, if they're coming from that attitude. People that work in those programs are so highly monitored with polygraphs and, you know, their family lives, making sure they're stable. If you remember all the way back, looking to Lazar, why did he get not called back for the program? It was because they found out his wife was cheating on him and he became a security risk. That's how security clearances work, is you have to have a stable family life. So people that would break from the fold, that are feeling all that type of pressure and just try to burn the whole house down, dude, they're going to find out they're in that mental state way prior to them ever being able to get to the starting point. So it's a long way to say, yeah, man, the Holy Grail. Yeah, I know about those conversations. I've talked to people on both sides of those conversations. The thing is, there's no indication that people like that are at this moment willing to come forward. And in fact, I can't go further than that, but in fact, if people were willing at one point, I don't think it's possible anymore for them.
And just to be clear, you're talking about other people have had the conversations with those whistleblowers, or not you?
Yes. Well, what I'm admitting to is that in official capacity, there are people doing this investigation that have conveyed to me their direct official debriefing with individuals in those programs, like working on the technology currently, non-human technology. So I know these people have had those investigatory roles and had those briefings and took the information because of the ICIG, reports.
Cool.
Yeah.
Well, there you have it, Gene. We've got Jeremy Corbell coming forward to talk about this, but more importantly, if we look back in time, he had Matt Brown, who he shopped around and brought and snuck into Representative's office, including Nancy Mace, to go ahead and bring out the truth. And they were going to go ahead and potentially bring him in as a witness, but last minute they pulled the rug out of it. And the entire document that was put together by probably Brown in combination with Jeremy Corbell was then taken and put underneath the credit of a reporter. It just, Matthew Pines, it just doesn't make sense. So if they're complaining about people not being willing to come forward when there are credible people who want to come forward, they string them along and they don't have it. Because remember, who was it? Mace had said, come hell or high water, we're having a hearing after it leaked all the information about it that Mike had found.
Right. And you know, and what he said, again, what doesn't make sense, just briefly, you're a government employee. You have technically what is a crime, is what you're saying, that is being committed within the agency. You report to the Office of the Inspector General. Then the Office of the Inspector General conducts an investigation, and it can go in any number of directions. And there are those cases of people, they fear for their lives. They also go to a reporter as part of the cover and or they directly contact their representatives. This gap, this overlap now in what Jeremy's describing himself as people inside the Inspector General offices of the intelligence community agencies are now acting as go-betweens between he and a whistleblower, and they're the ones giving Corbell the information about what the potential whistleblower has to say.
Well, Corbell's working directly with them. There is no ICIG in between him and Corbell, except maybe between the individual and potentially Corbell if they want to go to it. If you remember, Matt Brown didn't get anything cleared with the DOPSR or anything for the information that he gave out, which should have gotten him in trouble.
What he was just saying about the ICIG and or that information coming from the ICIG.
Yeah.
Is kind of how I read it, when he said about it. Yeah, easily could misunderstood.
Yeah, you're right,
that.
my friend. Sorry.
So again, it just seems as though this pathway that somehow drops these people on their particular laps is just as suspect or questioning as the motivations behind why these people want to blow the whistle on whatever information or aspects that they have. And if we go back to your opening statement and talking about this is the beginning of disclosure, and some of the things I've talked about and published on, yes, controlled disclosure, maybe even more so controlled transition. It's becomes just so convoluted to a degree.
Yeah, I hear you. It's we want to bring the truth out, but there's that thing called national security that stands in the way every single time, and or more likely at every turn, and we can't get past it now. Along the story about whistleblowers and what's been going on with Luna, this is coming from Stephen Denier from the UAP Identified podcast. This would actually deserve a breaking UFOs alert. Let me go ahead and play this video. This was just posted, I believe, just as we were at about an hour or so ago. So let's play this. Just had a very revealing call with a source in DC regarding details on the new upcoming UAP hearing and the scuffle taking place between Luna and Elizondo. This is important. So let's go ahead and bring up this clip. Let me go ahead and show this here. Where are we going? All right. Let's get to this one just to go ahead and show you. Yes, it is a clip coming from this guy, and here's a tweet what we're talking about. There we go. Let me get rid of my logo there. It's in the way. Banners, not that one. Thirds, none. Let's go ahead. Again, coming from Stephen Denier from UAP Unidentified podcast. Let's go ahead and play his clip and see where he takes us on this. Unedited, spur of the moment. Let's play it.
Hey guys, Stephen Diener here, UAP. Didn't expect to do a video here on a Saturday, but I just got done with a very revealing call with a source in DC, and here's what we covered. Two things. Number one, the new hearing, so details on that. And number two, the misunderstanding between Representative Anna Paulina Luna and Lue Elizondo that has kind of snowballed and taken on a life of its own, unfortunately.
Misunderstanding. More like lunacies or lunatic. What other Luna words can we come together, Chad? I'll let you do that. I'll bring them up. Here we go. So
I want to spread the word here from this word I just got during this conversation. Number one, the hearing is happening September 9th. This is what I was told. Very reliable source. On September 9th, they will have the next UAP hearing. It's open to the public. It's going to run.
Which means if it happens then, it will appear on the House Oversight Committee's calendar 1 week before the actual hearing. So if they're saying the 9th, minus 7 days, by September 2nd, we better see something on that calendar. Otherwise, there is no hearing on that date. Let's play more.
Pretty much just like the other one ran last November. There's going to be 4 witnesses. That's the plan. At least 1 or 2 of these witnesses are first-hand witnesses. That's been the speculation. I know Eric Burrow.
And one of the first-hand witnesses, Gene, is coming from Stephen Greer, is what we heard before. They only had 1 out of the witnesses they want to have. One of them is coming from Stephen Greer. Let's just hope the other 3 aren't from there either, because otherwise, we're talking about a total shit show, Gene.
Yeah, pretty much.
Burleson had put it out there that that's what they wanted to try to get. I think he said it on my show. He said in a couple of different interviews that he wanted to try to get first-hand witnesses for the next hearing. So it seems like that's going to happen. So I was told by my source that at least 1 or 2 of these 4 witnesses that are going to be testifying at the new hearing on September 9th are going to be first-hand witnesses. So that's going to be huge, to say the least. So looking forward to that. Again, open to the public September 9th. Now, when it comes to the skiff flu scuffle, I think is what I'm going to call it, between Anna Paulina Luna and Lue Elizondo. So obviously all the drama recently, Representative Luna is on Joe Rogan and she's talking about it there. Lue Elizondo didn't like what he heard. He's defending himself. Everybody's taking sides. So here's what I was told. It never needed to get to this far, is what I was told.
Shit.
That it all stemmed from a big misunderstanding. Everybody wants the same thing.
Hormones.
I think that's the biggest message I got away from this conversation. Anna Paulina Luna and Lue Elizondo and everybody working on this in D.C. all have the same goal, which is to get answers, to get disclosure out to the American people. That is the goal. And unfortunately, what happens sometimes is there's kind of drama that gets mixed in the middle, and we lose sight of those goals and we get lost in the drama. And that's what's happened here. So the important message that I want to try to get across after the conversation I just had is that this really stems from a misunderstanding. David Grush, from what I was told, had a health issue a couple of days before the skiff was supposed to take place in April. Everything was lined up. Lou was in town. He had other people there with him to do this. Obviously, Christopher Mellon was supposed to be part of it. As soon as David Grush had to back out due to health issues, not the flu, due to health issues, he was kind of the linchpin. He was the one holding this all together. He was one that was going to lead the conversation and really the driving force behind all of this inside the skiff. Once he was out, everything kind of fell apart. And that's where I think a lot of people ended up getting angry at each other. Then Christopher Mellon ended up calling out sick essentially with the flu. He said he had the flu. Lue Elizondo never had the flu. Lue Elizondo was perfectly healthy. And then with the congressional members were left with Lue Elizondo and his team and anybody else that they were trying to bring in. But because it wasn't exactly what they were looking for, they decided to try to reschedule. That rescheduling led to scheduling conflicts on everybody's end, everybody involved, and it never materialized.
And that's why Eric Burleson said it was my fault. We're trying to get all of the people in the skiff at the same time, rather than getting the people who are available in even D.C. to who flew on their own dime to come into the skiff to actually be interviewed. Yeah.
At this point, Thomas, I'm waiting for him to just come out and talk about Mike Disclosure having food poisoning and being on vacation. He seems to have all the insights into what's going on, around all of this. If this isn't narrative control and PR by design, I don't know what is. Who is this guy that he's the one that they're calling to put out all this kind of information? I mean, this might as well be a PR person.
Yeah. Well, at least he's giving us some insight. It sounds like, there's always DC insiders, people who are leaking information from behind the scenes. We've got about a minute left on this. At least we've got some insight to what's going on to add to it. And, good that he has friends in high places.
Yeah, I guess.
Here we go.
From there, and that's where you start to have this infighting and everybody taking sides. The bottom line is it didn't need to get here. That's the message that I was told. And now that I have the backstory to a lot of these things, after speaking to my source, it's very clear to me that there's just a lot of ill will that doesn't need to be there. Everybody has the same goal. Everyone wants the same thing. So I hope to see, my side is, I want everybody to get along. I hope to see Representative Luna and Lue Elizondo try to hash this out without any more escalation, because it doesn't need to be there. They both want the same thing like we all do, which is disclosure. So I hope to see you at the hearing September 9th. I hope to be able to be there in D.C. This is the update that I just got. Incredible stuff. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. Thanks.
Well,
Stephen.
Thank you very, very much. At least we have some additional insight. It's nice to be able to go to Twitter to go ahead and bring up my feed for something else we're going to go ahead and cover. And we get hit by this. But in the meantime, it looks like that Corporal Abe, you got phone issues, but you're here. Thank you, my friend. What say you? Your hand is up. No? Maybe his microphone is broken, but he did put his hand up either way. Let me get past this right now into the back chat so I can go ahead and control stuff and moderate it from my phone. All right. 1 second. God, I got to stop that droning voice that I do when I'm live. Oh, I can give it, and trust me, I can take it.
Spectacular, though, Thomas. You can't change a thing. This is when you know it's the real deal. All right.
So, next one, in late breaking news, I'll leave it up here. Coming from Joe Murgia, Lue Elizondo's lawyer is telling people in private, prepare your families for something nasty coming. Coming to us from Jonathan Davies, the troll known as I Want to Know UK. Is this true, Ivan Hannell, Esquire? You answered the first time I asked and said your account had been hacked. I'm asking again. Well, speaking for Ivan, who we speak with on a regular basis, yes, his account was indeed hacked. Even though it was a personalized account, he tried to deal with Twitter to try and get the account back in his control, and it didn't happen. So he walked away from the account, shut it down for that matter, as much as he could, and then he created a brand new Ivan Hannell. So what was Jonathan Davies saying? All right, I spoke to people directly, good friends, who were disturbed by what they were told. Yes, they were told something by a troll. So am I surprised? Not really. Here's the thing, as he continues to try and beat the flesh out of a dead horse. Here's the thing. What I've been seeing since 2019, the phenomenon has been warning me. Oh, Jesus Christ. And many others through TDT. Something is coming and not good. Normally I would take notice of doom stuff, but the phenomenon got me all fired up. My family have grab bags in the event. It's called a bug out bag, my friend. In the event something happens. He follows up to himself saying, I wish I had an answer for you. I don't. We have seen these predictions for many years. I tend to ignore them, and I worry more about war with China. So, yeah, and as Joe Murgia goes on to say at the end, it doesn't hurt to be prepared, but the phenomenon has been transmitting messages like that to experiencers, or either from the non-human intelligence or imaginations for decades. Don't stress out. There we go. Interesting things.
Even on the CDC website, I think they have a family plan for a zombie apocalypse, and it all starts with having your bug out bag, and it's a standard family emergency preparedness thing. Yeah. So nothing wrong with that.
Oh, we got more drama though. We've got more drama. Here we go. To all those who wonder about Jonathan Davies and his absurdly controlling ways, let's get into it. You're continuing to add people from my group. Okay, so Ivan Hannell has a chat group on Signal, and so does Jonathan Davies. So Jonathan Davies has his panties all intertwined, upset that people are leaving his chat group and going to Ivan's. You're continuing to add people for my group. What a sad little man you are. Well, actually, Jonathan, I think, is actually shorter. So, yeah, it's hard to go ahead and call someone a short, sad man when you are in that way. I will make people aware of your actions. Okay. Jonathan, coming from Ivan, I don't know who's in your group, but people are allowed to be a part of more than one Signal group. If you don't like that, I could care less. I don't tell people what they can't join in your group. I would encourage it, actually. The sad person is you, unemployed and looking to control. Who is part of what? What the hell? But, there's more. Wait, there's more. And making people aware is fine by me. I'm embarrassed for you. How can you be pro-disclosure, but against more connectedness within the community? What's your reasoning for slighting people? Slighting people, where it goes on. Slighting people into your group or my group rather than welcoming of all. I don't understand. So this is just one of those things, group where, Gene, where you have these groups of influencers and people interested in disclosure getting together on Signal and talking about a whole bunch of different things. However, you know what? Anybody can go ahead and listen to and join any particular group. It's not like if you join mine, you can't be in the others. So I think it's all good that these conversations are going on, but the pettiness
Yeah.
Well, maybe Jonathan doesn't have to sweat the petty. Maybe he needs to pet the sweaty and relax.
Pet the sweaty. That's why I say it amazes me sometimes how committed people are to their opinions, about which there really is no definitive answer.
Yeah.
And instead of just being open and exploring these ideas and, using everything as a tool in the toolbox, right?
Yeah.
Every little piece of information is good, and you put it together, and that's great. But I personally find a lot of these signal chats, particularly, just overwhelming. I mean, because there can be 4 different strings of conversation going on in the same thing, and at the end of the day, I'm very much we're going to talk about it. Let's leave knowing something we didn't know before, and be prepared to come back with something new to add to it the next time.
It's almost information overload, isn't it? It's one of the reasons why I've been invited to the signal groups. I haven't gone in yet because I have a real life, a real full-time job that even I'll get calls on 8 o'clock in the morning on Saturdays saying, what the hell happened with this? Explain and say, oh, okay, you're fine. But either way, that goes on. And, you just have to look at it and say, get so much information out of it. But that's why we've got Mike, and Mike is actually in that group, keeping a monitor on everything, being the retired police officer that he is, keeping the investigation live.
Yeah, well, and that's why I think this format, what you do is so important to this, because you bring these things together, you flush them out online, you take in some, and then then you've got this way of parking it and moving on, but it doesn't die when you park it. And when you come back to it, it's valuable, it's insightful, it's adding something.
Yeah.
And that's why, I think this live format works so well, particularly to do that you don't get lost in just noise and opinion.
Yeah. But it's entertaining at times, I have to say, just like Joe McGurry again on this one, saying Pavel from Psychoactivio went out and came out with this breaking headline that Carl Nell was the author behind the UAPDA Disclosure Act. It's not breaking, Joe says, no offense, Pavel, but this is old news and not a secret. Yeah, Gene, we've actually been covering this for the last freaking year, if not longer. I know 2 lawyers who were there dealing with stuff, talking to Nell about controlled disclosure and other stuff, who are well aware, and even this was around the same time they had that whistleblowers dinner that people leaked and sent pictures out of. But when that went on, that's when the first new, kind of the news started happening a year ago that.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I think I'll give, Ross Coulthard some credit and a shout out that he, where he said, look, this isn't entertainment, though it is entertaining.
Yeah.
It's not entertainment. And, I had somebody that used to come to me all the time, Gene, I got some intel for you. I got some intel. Well, what is it? I'd be like, well, that's more information.
Yeah.
That's not really intel. So yeah, I think people get caught up in the drama of it, or caught up in wanting it to be sexier than it needs to be.
Yeah. Oh, by the way, Jonathan Davies is in the chat. Hi, Jonathan. I'm just reading whatever people are saying, but yeah, let's move on with it. So no offense, Pavel. Yeah, nobody wants to say it out loud. No, we've been saying it out loud. People just haven't been talking about it that much. Carl Nell was a major instrumental part of drafting UAPDA. I've been told he was actually the one who actually drafted this document. He was the author of it. He may have gotten some people to help him with it, but that goes on. So, and this is coming from, when is this from? Oh, November 29th, 2023. He's got it a while ago. Carl Nell, David Grush, and others folks worked extremely hard putting together 64 pages of the well thought out UAP legislation known as the UAPDA and its danger of being gutted or failing altogether because a group of representatives feel they know better. But the thing is, you know what? Forget the representatives, Gene. The biggest problem with the UAPDA is it's going to lock up all the information in the executive branch within the president, who's able to say, no, I don't want that to come out. No, put it aside. Kind of like what we had with the Kennedy. And you know what? In 20 years, technically I could still be alive, but do you want to wait 20 more years, Gene, before we get to meaningful disclosure?
No, but I think what we're looking at is essentially a shell game of moving dates around. We've got, and you can look at even Dr. Villarreal's work, 1952. 75 years after 1952 is what, 2027. So there's potentially information that's ready to come out in 2027 that is part of the natural process anyway of the 75-year release.
Yeah.
And, our people behind the scenes politically positioning themselves to make it look like they're the ones who release the information. They're the ones who are the disclosure people.
Right.
They're the ones who are now trying to recompartmentalize it under a new system, by putting this act in place, yet look like we've done something for disclosure.
Yeah. Here's one thing I want to bring up really quick. I know we're talking about other stuff, looking at old disclosure of things that have gone on, Gene. Remember they talked about the Capitol incident back in 1952, where they had all of the UFOs that were appearing in swarms over the U.S. Capitol and the White House at that point in time. The one thing that I noticed here today that I didn't notice before, if you remember, a lot of times when they say when you're dealing with flying saucers, you're dealing with a craft that isn't flat, or when it moves, it's actually on an angle and it's like falling forward kind of, right?
Right.
If you look at every single one of the objects that was over the Capitol, let me go ahead and bring this down and bring it up. And Jonathan, by the way, the bullshit thing that went on with you and your books getting taken down from Amazon, that was total bullshit, and I'm sorry you went through that. It wasn't fair at all, and thank God you're able to correct the stuff, because any author like Gene and otherwise should have an opportunity to bring it out and not to get silenced in the way that you did. I'm glad you're able to figure that out. Now back to the UFOs. See, Gene, they're all in that angled kind of a piece as they're moving across, and that for me, just based on what we've learned about saucers, makes this incident and the images that much more exciting.
No, absolutely, you're right, and it'd be great to get in on that more. But certainly have to do it offline and look at some other photos and compare it. But I think there's a lot more to come out to this. I don't think the Project Blue Book or the the 70s release on this were anywhere near the full story.
No,
I think there's probably a lot more information that is sitting classified under some other, within some other bucket.
Yep.
And that's why I think this 2027 and just like we were saying, this act and there's something there.
Right. There's something there that's been covered up to an extent for a very long period of time, to where it's become just natural for our government to go ahead and continue with it. But I have to say, if you turn back the clocks of time and you go back to 2021, when we had the initial UAP hearings and stuff, everything we were hearing coming out of the DOD, especially from John Kirby at that time and other members within the executive branch, it was different. Things were actually sounding like they were going to move forward. But these days, it just seems like it's in a completely opposite direction, unfortunately. Let me get to...
And again, it just speaks to, what there not being alignment on where they want to go with this.
Oh, yeah.
Whatever it is that they are still not aligned on it.
Oh, yeah. Oh, absolutely. Let me go ahead and get this up here. I'm going to get one more thing. I've got an interesting clip we're going to play here.
Radio check.
Let's get to YouTube. Let's see if I can find this.
Loud and clear, Corbell.
Hey, thanks. Nice to hear you.
Oh, it sounds like he's got... Is that your microphone that's bad, or is that your voice that makes you sound like RFK Jr.?
A little bit of both.
Oh, you could have the COVID, huh?
Busted nose.
Oh, my gosh. What the hell caused that? It's... One thing I want to go ahead and bring up here, let's go ahead and get this up here in front of the audience really quick, is guest full. Let's get to this one here. All right. So this is something that came out on June 18th, or the picture was taken on June 18th, 1979. Italian Air Force pilot Marshal Giancerlo was asked by radar operators to intercept a mysterious metallic craft hovering near the Treviso Santa Angelo airport. During several close passes, he photographed the silent cylindrical object, estimated to be 6 to 8 meters long, with a pale dome on top. Ground radar operators and other visual observers on the ground also confirmed the object's presence. The craft showed no reaction to turbulence, remained completely stable, and then disappears simultaneously from visual sight and ground radar. Now, I'm going ahead. There's a video here from It's Redacted that we have permission to play. This is one of the good ones. I want to go ahead and play at this point. Let me see if I can find it. It should be right here. Copy link. Copy. Let's go ahead and bring this one down. There was a sighting of one of these objects that happened over Manhattan back in the 50s. And it was actually recorded by a well-known photographer at that time. Let me bring this video down here really quick. And I will, remind me later, I'll do the upgrade. Where in the hell is Downey at? Opened it. Oh, there it is. Open an external application. No, wait a minute. Why did you do that? Oh, it's supposed to... Give me a second here. I thought I had it. How did I lose that? Son of a bitch. Okay, let's go to one more time. I'll just take everybody through it. What the heck? I'll share it with you, what you're saying. Let's go to... It's redacted. Let's go to the site. Let's bring it down. The video URL. Let's go to videos, actually. Sorry about this, folks. Great place to forgo reference and stuff. Let me go copy link address. Go back to Downey again and download that. For some reason, I got the title card. Give me a second. We'll download it, then we'll go ahead and play it. Actually, I could probably just play it from here because we're not going to rewind it. So
December 2nd.
Let's play this one. Here we go, folks. Let's enjoy it. This is a follow-up to that same craft, because that same craft actually was seen over New York on December 2nd, 1950, or something that looks exactly like it. Let me find you this so we can go ahead and play it. Here we go, folks.
2nd, 1950. Air Force investigators in New York City receive a letter. In it is this: something discovered on a photo of Manhattan. The photographer claims a shot immediately before didn't show the same cylinder-shaped object. Their name is redacted. But a series of rarely seen declassified files reveal they worked for Underhill Studio, and may have been the owner himself, Irving Underhill. Interviewed by an Air Force special agent, Underhill said the image was used for a postcard. He was one of the city's most well-known architectural photographers. His studio regularly received commissions to promote new buildings through his work, much of which is now in the Library of Congress. He and a colleague tell the Air Force nothing was seen in the sky when the photo was taken, and in their expert opinion, it wasn't a film defect. Considering his stature...
So I want to bring this up really quick. This is probably one of the best images that we have of a UFO, or of a cylinder UFO in the sky over a major city. What are your thoughts, Gene?
No, I think it's excellent. You know, and particularly considering the time frame, right?
1950.
In 1950, the film photography, nighttime photography. So anyone who's more of an expert, jump in and correct me. But again, setting the aperture, the timing, all of those factors that go into what they would need to do, and for that object to be so clear, I think is remarkable, because if it were moving, then it would be a much different look we have at it.
Right. And if you look
So-
at the two craft, this one that was, if you want to call it photographed in 1979, and this one, it looks like it's the same morphology of craft. What do you call those things? They call them cigars, cigar-shaped UFO.
Right, exactly. And again, the aircraft photo would be much different. High-speed film, it's much more, so the ability to capture it and capture that level of detail would be expected. And again, I think that's what makes the 1950 photo even more remarkable for that level of detail. And looking at it even here, it looks as though you can see some kind of bands around it, or other structure potentially. I just think it's a remarkable image.
Yeah, let's continue on with the story. Now, it's redacted. I was going to be working with Jacob Mann, who was the director and producer behind all this. I was going to be working with him and others at a organization with Sean Cahill called Skyfort, but unfortunately they got shut down just as I was about to be brought into it. So let's listen more. The guy knows his stuff.
And the quality of the photo, one would assume officials took the sighting seriously. But that isn't what appears to have happened. It was instead swept up by the notorious Project Grudge, predecessor to Project Blue Book. Edward J. Ruppelt, former head of Blue Book, wrote in 1956, "It doesn't take a great deal of study of the old UFO files to see that standard intelligence procedures were no longer being used by Grudge. Everything was being evaluated on the premise UFOs couldn't exist. Its goal," he wrote, "was to get rid of UFOs by explaining every report." In this episode, we'll ask, is this debunk at all costs approach evident in the strange Underhill photo? And were cylindrical objects seen elsewhere that year? We cover forgotten declassified files. Subscribe to join us. Object on photo determined to be moon caused by time exposure. That was the official explanation for the image.
The moon, Gene.
It's up there. It's
Oh, son of a bitch. You got to believe me. They're calling this out. Well, they didn't call it Venus at least this time, which was they call it. Yeah, let's see what else they're going to say. It's no moon.
A month after getting Underhill's letter, the Air Force simply concluded this. He must have forgotten the moon was in the sky at the time, and the shape was caused by its declination during a long exposure. There are many issues, all of which we will get to. First, the photographer said the image was taken on May 20th, 1950, but after a visit from a special agent, he changed the date to March 20th. This matters because a waxing crescent moon was present in that part of the sky in late March, and was visible for 2 hours that night before traveling below the horizon. Though we must ask, is there any documentation to back up this date change? Underhill usually signed the bottom corners of his photos, and this was no different, though the month written on the Air Force's version is indistinguishable between March abbreviated and May. We aren't going to accuse investigators of altering the print, turning May into Mar by blacking out the lower tail of the Y, but it's worth considering all possibilities. Thankfully, the Library of Congress has another Underhill signature showing his R and Y together. Here's what the Y would look like altered. Did the Air Force change the date from May to March? It certainly was important to their hypothesis. The moon on May 20th, 1950 was days away from a first quarter phase and did not have the necessary curve to match the object in the photograph. But there's more than handwriting analysis here that suggests the official debunking may not have been very well thought out. Take the shadowing on the object. Usually visible with this phase of the moon is a dimmer portion along the inner concave part of the crescent. That's the terminator, the line separating the day and the night side. Underhill's photo, though, appears shadowed in a different spot, on its edge. The concave part of what the Air Force called a crescent.
Really quick, Gene is going to have to run. He's got some prearranged events. Thank you for coming in tonight, Gene. Let's continue on. Here we go.
Is not shadowed, and there are more glaring errors too. The enlarged version of the photo shows the concave edge of the object facing down, toward the horizon. The moon's waxing crescent on March 20th was facing the opposite direction. Perhaps most notably, investigators write the photo was taken between 1730 and 1800 hours. Historical records, though, show the sun did not set until 1806 that day, and there were no deviations in daylight saving time that year. And, more anecdotally, the title of Underhill's photo itself is Night Lights from Queensboro Bridge, something evident in the skyline view itself that the photo wasn't taken before sunset. In fact, twilight didn't end until 1937 on March 20th. Maybe the photo was taken in astronomical twilight between 1907 and 1937. And actually, this may explain the glow over the city in the photo. But here's the kicker. If taken that late, the moon should have been out of the frame as it crossed due west around 1850. In fact, this may be why the Air Force asserted the photo was taken between 1730 and 1800, before the sun set. That was the only time on March 20th the crescent moon was in the southwest, the direction the photographer said he was facing. Okay. All of this doesn't explain what Underhill or his photographer saw, but it does severely call into question what the Air Force thinks this is. Even their conclusion the image itself was a time-lapse is dubious. In an interview, the photographer said they weren't sure if an instant shutter or timed exposure was used, though that didn't stop investigators from definitively stating it was due to this. A small squiggle of light they think must be lights from a ground vehicle as it was moving. They didn't ask Underhill what he thought about this theory. And most importantly, all streets to the southwest of the bridge were perfectly linear in 1950, as they are today. They can't account for any vehicle traveling in a loop. Our view is simple. The Air Force's explanation has enough holes in it that it should at least be changed to an unidentified status. Despite, as Ruppelt described, Grudge's goal to debunk UFOs, by the early 50s, reports of cigar-shaped objects were so numerous they became difficult to wish away. T-Ticket, Massachusetts. Just 1 month before the Air Force said the Underhill photo was taken, 2 pilots report seeing a pair of bright cylinders above the town. Neither could identify what they were, despite thousands of flying hours between them. The cylinders were seen maneuvering together, and one dropped a fireball from its body. "I'm familiar with weather balloons," one pilot said, "but I've never seen anything like these objects. Although they operated as a pair, they weren't attached in any way. They climbed at rapid speed and then disappeared." That May, 2 radar operators at Kirtland Air Force Base in New Mexico visually observed a metallic object of cylindrical shape at 3 in the afternoon. It flew forward while angled downward, they said, at tremendous speed. It disappeared in a flash of brilliant white light. As Grudge transitioned to Blue Book, the sightings continued. July 1952. 3 cylinders stacked up vertically between 50,000 and 80,000 feet, seen by 4 different pilots above Pennsylvania. 4 days later, a Navy veteran sees a lone gray cylinder with a domed top and bottom flying upright before flashing silver and disappearing. August 52. An engineer in New Mexico sees 3 cigar shapes sitting motionless in a V formation before moving into a diagonal, tumbling forward as they flew. Ruled unknown. For reasons we can't determine, cylinder UFO sightings generally fell as the 1950s progressed in favor of disc and spherical shapes. Though, like the Underhill photo, attempts to explain everything away continued to pop up in late Blue Book files. Like in March 1967, when a father in Newburgh, New York saw a bright, large object outside his home. It changed shape, first appearing like a toy top and then like a cigar. He called his wife and daughter to look at it. They noted it was silver, extremely bright, and 200 to 300 feet wide with an antenna on top. After 15 minutes, the object became motionless and disappeared instantaneously. An investigator wrote the witnesses were reliable, and though they did live near an airbase, it reported no traffic at that time. The conclusion Blue Book reached? Well, They must have just seen Venus. Apparently, someone in the Air Force felt this didn't make sense, as a handwritten note says, "Investigator should have asked, did you see Venus also?" The family's detailed account, complete with intricate drawings, is in the file, though not analyzed by officials. The deeper we get, we see what Ruppelt was talking about. Even if a trained observer saw a UFO with no natural explanation, there was often no attempt to discover what was truly behind the phenomena. No informed research, theories, or even speculation, and no attempts to correlate sightings together. At least, there is none of this in the public Blue Book and Grudge files. One wonders if other, more classified programs pulled all of this together at a 10,000-foot view, and what conclusions they made. In the interest of national security, it seems naive to think there hasn't been an attempt by the US government to figure out the intent of UFOs, their origin, and why some sightings vary in type to such a significant degree. After leaving Blue Book, Ruppelt concluded his own book in 1956 with this: "I wouldn't want to hazard a guess as to what the final outcome of the UFO investigation will be, but I am sure that within a few years there will be a proven answer." 64 years later, we're still waiting. But with the knowledge he was privy to, Ruppelt's optimism is interesting. Is an answer known and it just remains undisclosed? And what would it take for these other UFO files, if they exist, to become public? Let us know your thoughts in the comments. And please share this video with your friends and family. Patreon supporters, thank you so much, including John G.
And there we go. Wow, it's one of those things you want to go ahead and take a look at and not stop watching. Let me get into this one. Yeah, it's redacted. Jake Mann, and I believe that's his wife, who was actually going ahead and doing the voiceover work on this. Really interesting. They've gone on to do bigger and greater things for a much more, can't say, audience within the, yeah, can't mention that either. Damn it. That's what happens when you know stuff, you can't bring it up. And now if we can, during the show, I saw someone in the audience go ahead and bring up the point that I've had a UFO sighting. And you know what? That gave us an opportunity to go ahead and say how many other people have had UFO sightings. So if you look at our survey, granted, we're going a little bit more. We're 9 minutes into it. Usually I do it in 2 minutes or a minute and a half and less. We've got 96 votes in. So far, almost 70% of our audience, 7 out of 10 people have said, yes, I've had a UFO sighting. It's very interested, and our audience is telling us about it. And if anyone in the audience ever wants to follow that link and tell us about it, we'd love to hear about it. Let's get back into the studio and figure out what the heck next we're going to be talking about. Got a bunch of good stuff here. Let me go ahead and get to, I think, that one. There we go. Let's go ahead then, folks, and let's find some other stuff for us to get into. Actually, I want to go ahead and take a screenshot of that. And thank everybody for your participation in the chat. And we look at that. We got another super chat that just came in. This one's coming in from Liz W. Great show. As always, thanks, Thomas. Thank you for everyone for stopping in on your Saturday. It's a great time to talk about disclosure, my friends. Let me shrink this down and get this back to where I'm at, where I can control things again and figure out what are we going to talk about next, because I know I've got more stuff here for us to jump into. All right, so we've talked a bit about Nancy, not Nancy, almost feels like want to talk about Nancy Mace, about Annapolena Luna and her lunacies that have been going on. Yeah, it's a sad spot for disclosure. Hopefully she hasn't done too much damage to go ahead and scare away other whistleblowers who are coming forward, as we talked about earlier on the show. That is a major concern. Now, if I go to the description of tonight's show, what did I say we're going to talk about? Whistleblowers step back, Representatives Luna's backlash. We got one UFO video, and I think I should have more for us to get into. I've got a bunch of interesting things. We're going to get some pictures on here. All right, so this is something that's out there. that has been discovered in science a couple of years ago, and it's getting out there again. It's something that kind of relates to us. Apparently, solar systems are linked together. Let me go ahead and bring this up here. Not that one. Desk solo, not that desk. Document solo. Okay, let's bring it up. So over on X, they're talking about it, saying breaking, not so breaking, but it's an interesting story. Astronomers discover an interstellar tunnel that connects our solar system to other stars. And that is true, but it's not like we're talking about a black hole or a white hole. What they're finding is as our solar system moves around the Milky Way galaxy, there are actually if you want to call it, connection points that connect our solar system to other objects that are near in the area. So let me get into this, and after let me bring this first picture up. I'll bring that up here and the poll. There we go. As I get into the story on this one, let's bring it up, and I've got some more pictures I can get into it. Interesting piece about science and what we deal with in our everyday lives around our solar system. So all right, let's get into it. All right, so after years of careful mapping, a new analysis reveals what appears to be a channel of hot but low-density plasma stretching out from our solar system towards other stars. Astronomers from the Max Planck Institute confirmed it's using data from the Rosetta instrument. Dr. L.L. Sala, lead researcher, and colleagues shared these findings. Let me make sure I'm on the screen. There we go. These findings in a paper published in the Journal of Astronomy and Astrophysics. We find the temperature of the LHB, they're calling it the local hot bubble, exhibits a north-south dichotomy at high latitudes. What stands out is the detection of a channel or tunnel that appears to stretch towards the Centaurus constellation. This feature seems to punch through hot material connecting our neighborhood to distant star systems. Another such pathway appears to link toward the vicinity of Canis Major. Data hints that these might be just one of a part of a larger Muscadine branching network of channels that run between star-forming regions and hot pockets of gas. Let me go ahead and bring this next picture up and share it with everybody. This is a better picture we've got of this thing going on. Sorry you weren't letting before, Greg. Let's get into it. A 3D map of the Milky Way galaxy's local hot bubble, LHB, created from the Rosetta data, shows a low-density region around our solar system heated by ancient supernovas. The bubble shows temperature gradients in an interstellar tunnel towards Centaurus, likely formed by young stars. This bubble may connect to other superbubbles, shaping the Milky Way structure. The solar system entered the local hot bubble a few million years ago, adding to our understanding of its cosmic neighborhood. So, you know what? There are things out there in space that we're unaware of that, goes beyond the scope and understanding of our current knowledge. But the truth of the matter is, humans don't know everything. We only know a fraction. Actually, while we act like we're know-it-alls, and we know absolutely everything. So, oh, Carl, why are you here? Why are you here, Carl? Do you really want to be here? If you're not happy, I can take you out of the chat. Thank you. Let's go around here. And yes, I have ADD, ADHD. And yes, if I don't interrupt people at different times, it's kind of who I am. And if you don't like that, I hope you like other things. But I try to do the best that I can do, considering who I am and the meds that I take. And if I do interrupt things here or there, get to know me. So, be glad that I take the time and try and bring this kind of stuff forward for everybody. And yes, I was almost thinking, let's not have a show today, but you know what? Let's continue on. Have a good one. Let's see what else we have out there in my list of stuff coming up over on X. And all right, we've talked about this a bunch of times in the past. This is just sickening. Scientists have determined or discovered that they can go ahead and take skin cells and scrape them off, and they can get stem cells out of that they can go ahead and exposed to ammonia and other chemicals to get those stem cells to go ahead and convert into, what do you call it? Brain stem cells. And they will actually grow little things called brain organoids. And they said they were doing this only for science. They were doing it to go ahead and use it for discoveries, to go ahead and, if you want to call it, learn about diseases in the brain. But you know how science goes. They give you excuses while they're still doing the shit hiding in the background. And what they've done is they're calling this biologics on a chip. And over in China, yes, they've actually, and probably here in the United States as well, they've been taking some of this technology and integrating it into robots. So if we're concerned about, us getting taken out potentially by robots or technology from the future, yeah, this stuff can be trained faster than typical AI. It can respond faster than typical AI. But what we're truly dealing with here, and this isn't fake meat. I guess you could call it fake meat. No, this isn't fake. I've watched this stuff in the past. This is just a video where they're talking about different stuff, but this is actually true. What they are creating, it's the video that put together is they show some stuff and they ask some questions. This is the part. What are we dealing with? Are we dealing with a human consciousness that we're putting into these particular not robotic things, and this is something they're going to get into in the future. And for those who don't believe me, let's look at brain. Let me get into human brain. We're not organoid. And there are plenty of stories out there. We're going to see if I can find the one with the images where they've got it. They've got ones where they've seen before, and what happens is after the organoid gets to a certain point, it actually starts developing eyes. So it's one of those things. This is an AI brain on a chips. It's just something that's be concerned. TBT, hopefully we can hear you. I know when you came in, your fans are really loud and you're far from your mic, but what say you, my friend?
Better now?
Yeah, it's good.
Okay. Yeah, I've seen where they put human cells in a computer as a butterfly and trained it to fly around in a matrix program.
Really?
That's what you're talking about. Yeah. It's a butterfly that's flying around endlessly in a program off of human cells.
Yeah. And here we go. And I've got a story here from 2021. I've been covering this for a period of time. And this is from Live Science. This isn't fake stuff, folks. This is what they've been doing. Man-made mini brains grow their own sets of eyes. And yes, those are mini brains, organoids as they call them. And by the time they get them to their state, and when they said they were going to go ahead and destroy them, they have the brain activity that's equivalent to a premature baby. So we're getting to the point of a human, and this is back in 2021. Fast forward 4 years, what these scientists have been doing, it's scary stuff. So yeah, this isn't fake news. This is something that's been going on, and they have been putting these on chips. They have been putting these things into robotic things, and they've actually had them playing Pong and other stuff. It's just... yeah, this brain stuff shouldn't be legal. It's too sketchy. Yeah, we're getting to that area of science when we go behind, when we're doing things that we shouldn't be doing, kind of like COVID and other stuff that got us into messes in the past. Yeah, it's truly a sickening situation, to say the least. Let me get through what else I've got going here in the back for news bits to bring up for the day. Oh, not that one. I need to get back to X here. All right, let me get back to my bookmarks. All right. There's been a lot of talk and discussion with regards to people like Mick West, the debunkers who are out there debunking things, actually getting paid for what they're doing, and people had said, no, you're crazy. People aren't getting paid for doing this stuff. I've got a short clip here that was brought forward by Chris Chapman today. I caught that over on X. I was going back with him on a bunch of things. Let me get into this one. We've got a short clip. Let me get into, where are we at? Document solo. Coming from X again, of course. Just caught this. Jesse Michaels' American Alchemy podcast from January. Link as follows, featuring Merrick Von Rennenkamp and Mick West. We're at a minute 9. Mick says, I can't say who's paying him to do all the debunking. So here we go. We've got a debunker. We call him a professional debunker. And sure enough, it sounds like someone's paying him to go ahead and find reasons to go ahead and say all of the stuff that's coming out there is bullshit. Let's see where this comes into. Wait a second. I thought that was going to take me right to it. Oh, it's on Spotify. Son of a gun. All right, we're not going to play it. I thought this was a clip to YouTube. Unfortunately, I'm sorry about that, but we'll have to cover it. So yes, what's going on? Yes, the debunkers are paid. It's something we thought about. It's something that had been, if you want to call it, brought up for a long period of time, but you know what? It sounds like more than not that this is a true circumstance. Now, let's see if there's anything left here that we haven't covered. We got the brain organoids. Oh, we got that one. That's just tricking wild. All right, so here we go. This is some interesting news that's out there. Let's bring it up. Desktop solo. All right, so this is a screenshot or a picture of a petroglyph. You know, those things that they drew on rocks a long time ago after the earth got destroyed. They had nothing left to go ahead and create with. All right, this petroglyph from Sedona, Arizona, depicts a being with an elongated skull and 3 digits on the hands. The anatomical proportions are far removed from any known human variation. It's difficult to accept that the ancient artists who made this were simply imagining other people. The form is too distinct and deliberate. If you look at where we've got the fingers with the tridactyls going on, this is a relatively very large, tall creature. Let me figure out a way I can shrink this down a little bit so we can see it a little bit better. Here we go. Let's bring it down. There we go. Tall creature, really long neck, long torso with the tridactyl arms coming down. Almost reminds me of those little tridactyls we've been seeing for South America. So, clearly, I don't think this was someone just going ahead and daydreaming about particular things. Usually when we're seeing stuff like this, these are things that people actually realize. They're drawing what they saw. What are your thoughts, TBT? Your hand is up.
I think people back in the day sucked at art.
They what?
I said, I think back in the day they weren't too good at art.
No, they weren't, but potentially it could be something that's there, and whatever it is, a lot of these things, we see these repeated shapes all around the planet, so it's not in one spot, as they say. Coincidence? I think not. All right, let's see what else I've got here in my X feed as I get through it. Oh, let me jump back into the studio again, and let's see where we're at. All right, we got the one with Lue. All right, we've covered that one. Luna. All right. We've got Lue here, Lue Elizondo, responding about the skiff flu. We covered this one yesterday. Let's go ahead and bring up this clip for our audience. Here we go, folks. Let's hear about Lue doing a rebuttal, if you want to call it, to Luna calling out people that have the skiff flu. Let's see what Lue has to say.
You are in the middle of this public back and forth with Congresswoman Anna Paulina Luna. She has been a big supporter of UFO transparency, but now she claims that whistleblowers are dodging her request to have people like you testify in a classified room called a SCIF. It's a sensitive compartmented information facility. She didn't mention you specifically, but take a look.
I've reached out to some of the biggest names in UFO lore. They all got skiff flu, and we call it skiff flu, meaning like the day that the skiff was open, that we reserved it. We're like, we're here. Like,
well, what about the time, I have to bring this up, Anna. What about the time that you actually were supposed to be in the skiff, but it conflicted with your schedule and you canceled it? So there's we talked about this earlier.
Come on, come brief us. They
Karen.
get sick. They ghost us. Yeah, so I'm like, well, if you're not going to tell me to skiff, then you're full of crap.
Now, after you criticized her comments on Joe Rogan's show, her comments that she replied back, she said, you're a strange and frankly bizarre post. She didn't even mention you by name. Lou, what is going on here? Why do you think she's referring to you? What's happening here?
Sure. Well, first of all, let me applaud the work that she's doing for disclosure and for greater transparency. She's doing a tremendous work in that area, and I'm a big fan of her. I have been for a very long time. I've spoken to her many times, very frankly. But this was clearly, if you look at social media, this was a reference. She refers to Skifflu, referring to the individuals that were originally arranging a skiff meeting for her. That was myself, Chris Mellon, and several others. Now, she did not mention me by name. And in all fairness, I really hope this is a miscommunication. But if she was referring to me, and by the way, in her tweet, she didn't say she wasn't. She never said I wasn't talking about you, Lou. So we still don't know. But if she was, I needed to make it clear, because if someone's going to go on an internationally syndicated podcast and make an inference that I, for whatever reason, had flu and was sick at the time of a skiff, that's not accurate. It's not even remotely in the world of any type of reason. In fact, I've already talked in a skiff already with the DOD and the DNI as well. And oh, by the way, under their IG programs. And also, I testified under oath before the American people, and I was in DC 3 separate times when our meetings in the skiff were canceled and postponed. Now, keep in mind, I live in rural Wyoming in the middle of nowhere. My closest airport, 30 miles, and I have one plane that leaves from our airport every day, and it's a CRJ 200.
So you would testify, by the way, if she asked you again?
1,000%. And in fact, no one's ghosting her, at least not me. I would love an opportunity. I just need some notice. Got to give me more than 3 days.
I totally get it. And at the end of the day, I wanted to ask you, because you guys are on the same side. It's for transparency. So I hope it happens.
100%.
Lou Elizondo.
Luna's not an enemy. Correct. Look, she's doing great
I hear
work.
you. I hear you. Lou, thank you so much.
I'm a friend, not an enemy of what she's trying to do.
Got it. Thank you for clearing the air. Appreciate it, Lou. Good seeing you.
Absolutely. Honor and privilege.
You know what? I have to bring this up really quick. I have to bring this up because you know why. Not that one. Let's get into this one. It was a passionate conversation between Lou and the reporter. They were both talking over each other, trying to get their points across, trying to grab the microphone per se. People sitting back and just listening, and one people kind of talking at the same time. Yes, that can be there, but when there's passion in the moment, which I'm a very passionate individual, that's something that goes on. It's to be expected. So are we going to say, Lou, you were stepping on him, or the reporter, you were stepping on him, I can't listen? Well, you know what? That's part of a conversation, not a lecture. We like to have conversations here, not lectures. There's a bit of a difference, I think. So hope the audience gets that. Let me see if there's anything else we have in here. All right. Anything here? Is this one we get into? Luna going off. No, I think we got about it covered. I think we had a good show today. I think so. Okay. Okay. This is from Japan, I believe. I have no idea what the hell we're looking at here, or what drugs potentially this person is on. But it's one of those things you look at and you're like, what the hell is that? Oh, do I have that video here? I think I've got the one. Near the top. No, Daddy chill.
Daddy chill.
What the hell is even that?
Yeah, I'm not going to chill on this one, but let's get into this one and just play it here. You tell me, you guys, what the hell you think this is in the chat. You turn off the audio. You've got someone walking around, look like their neck is completely back, not sure what kind of drugs they're on, but check out this move that's about to come up. Look how they get down to go ahead and look forward. And then they get back up and start walking again. So whatever the hell this is, I guess this is in Japan or something like this. It's got to be fentanyl or something these people are on, but it's just one of those things you scratch your head and say, yes, the zombie apocalypse. Well, it's more in Seattle than anywhere, but yeah. And well, not necessarily a zombie apocalypse. It's more like a drug zombie apocalypse. Yes, very strong opiate. Trank or something like that. The audience is saying crazy stuff. But yeah, when I see things like this, I like to go ahead and grab it and bring it up of something for us to go ahead and talk about. Is there anything else that I've got here to go ahead for us to get into? No. We got that. We got the video. All right. I'll get past that disingenuous bullshit. Let's get into that. We've got past Luna and all the things going on. We've got that with Lue Elizondo talking about his stuff. You know, I think we've covered everything. All right. We've got an edit of all the different statements that were put together by David Grush at one point in time. I'll play part of it right now. I'm not going to play the whole thing because it's 40 minutes long. Let's go ahead and get into this. Let me get this here. Yeah, gotta love the Aurora when they came out. This one was overhead up in the substorm earlier this week, I believe. Phenomenal. Auroras are still happening, folks. Let's go ahead and move back. And yes, earlier in the week, yes, we did talk about that the pilot encounters a black UFO, a black sphere UFO about 70 miles from Wright-Patterson Air Force Base. It wasn't a commercial jet, it was a military jet that saw it. But yeah, that was another story. Phenomenal that happened earlier this week. Talked about that. Let's listen to some compilation statements from David Grush. You know, I wish something had come out of this with David Grush, but it seems like Congress is just incapable of taking any of the information they have and moving forward. Phenomenal stuff that he said.
Mr. Chairman, ranking members and congressmen, thank you. I'm happy to be here. This is an important issue, and I'm grateful for your time. My name is David Charles Grush. I was an intelligence officer for 14 years, both in the U.S. Air Force, both active duty, Air National Guard, and Reserve, at the rank of major, and most recently from 2021 to 2023, at the National Geospatial Intelligence Agency, NGA, at the GS-15 civilian level, which is the military equivalent of a full bird colonel.
Case in point, really quick, when Avril Haines came into the office as the ODNI, as the Director of National Intelligence, she wanted to break down all the overclassification of information, starting with the agency that David Grush was working for, and he was doing daily, regular weekly briefings, I believe, with the President of the United States at his tenure when that stuff was going on, because there was too much classification going on. She got shut down by the National Geospatial Intelligence Agency and every other agency. They refused to listen. Different this time with Tulsi Gabbard, she's actually getting them to listen, and she is getting rid of those who are shutting down their ability to share information. So let's listen some more.
I was my agency's co-lead in unidentified anomalous phenomena and transmedium object analysis, as well as reporting to the UAP task force, UAPTF, and eventually, once it was established, the All-Domain Anomaly Resolution Office, AARO. I became a whistleblower through a PPD-19 urgent concern filing in May 2022 with the Intelligence Community Inspector General. Following concerning reports from multiple esteemed and credentialed current and former military and intelligence community individuals that the U.S. government is operating with secrecy above congressional oversight with regards to UAPs. My testimony is based on information I've been given by individuals with a long-standing track record of legitimacy and service to this country, many of whom also have shared compelling evidence in the form of photography, official documentation, and classified oral testimony to myself and my various colleagues. I have taken every step I can to corroborate this evidence over a period of 4 years while I was with the UAP task force and do my due diligence on the individual sharing it. This is because of these steps, I believe strongly in the importance of bringing this information before you.
Yeah, so he brought the information forward. He talked in front of Congress, but it didn't get anywhere. In late breaking news, I just got a picture sent to me from Jan in the back. I mean, in the chat saying, you got to look at this. You got to laugh. And she's like, what is this? It's like, well, let me go ahead. And it's a picture from X. Let me go ahead and bring this in and let's go ahead and blow it up, friends. Yeah, she's outside and she's looking up. But if you look at it, it's a blimp. So, you know what? You need to look. You need to go ahead and take and see what's outside. But if you see something, talk about it. Yes, the video is not here. It does not play. You got a video of it as well. Thank you for going ahead and sharing that with us, Jan. On that note, I think we've about covered everything we could for today's show. I want to thank everybody for coming out to the broadcast. Mike, hopefully you're having a nice vacation. Gene, thank you for all your help and in the conversation we've had today. More importantly, oh, YouTube just refreshed on me and I lost my chat. What the hell is that? Pop this out again so it still works. Pop out the chat. Do it again. Go to live chat. Just as I'm trying to bring this together. Let's go ahead and do this. I need to find one more thing. No, don't do that. No. I want to thank everybody for your wonderful super chats today. Wow, what a great opportunity. What a great time. Hopefully you've had a good Saturday, my friends. I certainly have, especially hanging out with our audience and our friends in the back. Let's get into this. All right, who do we have out there? I want to go ahead and thank our audience for your super chats today. Who am I talking about? Well, we got one from Anonymous Rex. Watch the new series on FX called Alien Earth. Yeah, we need to talk about that. I watched the first 2 episodes last night. Phenomenal. Maybe we'll do a recap of it. Liz W., thank you for the super chat, and also Anonymous Rex. We've had a great time, a great opportunity to hang out, and more importantly, my friends, as we usually say at the end of every episode of Disclosure tonight, if I could stop this, stop on, pause all. I want to say, eyes open, no fear, be safe, everybody, but
go back to Party City where you belong.
Absolutely. We'll catch you on the flip side. See you on Monday, everybody, with Mike. Take care. Bye-bye.